Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
Forever and ever.
Hey, baby.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a crazy ass week.
It has been a crazy week.
We made it.
But we're here.
We made it. I feel like we don't have much to discuss about this week that just passed, besides the fact that our kids were sick. And I feel like so many people probably can relate.
Yeah, it's going around.
It's going around. Eli literally missed a whole week of school. And they're okay. It's not COVID. It did have me thinking, though, about how my attitude towards like school attendance has changed.
You feel like you were more of a stickler for it?
Yeah, like I always felt, I feel like most people do, because in school you get rewarded for like perfect attendance, right? And if you miss school, it's kind of frowned upon. But when we went to Florida, Eli missed 3 days of school.
Ooh.
And I knew it. And it's like, ooh, vacation during school. But it's like, honestly, the experience we gained as a family, to me, is more valuable and more important than those 3 days of school in the long run. And also, I'm a teacher, so he was doing work anyway.
I was just saying today that you're a cheat code, because not only are you a brilliant teacher, but you're actually pouring into our kids. Yeah. So, you know, he could miss a month and I'm sure he'll go back sharper than...
He ain't missing a month. But and it also made me think about how fortunate I am to be home, because if I was working full time and Eli had to miss a full week of school, I would have caused so much stress.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to my teachers, educators, because it was even more stressful as a teacher to take a day off because of the pressure that's put on us as like being so essential, you know? So I didn't want to miss school. If I was sick, I would just take medicine and to mask the symptoms, you know, and now with COVID, you can't really do that.
Well, and I was going to say, you know, I feel like COVID changed the culture of calling out and kind of taking care of yourself, at least in the private sector. Because now it's like, take care of yourself, stay home, work from home until you're better.
Honestly, for teachers, it hasn't really improved.
I was going to say that hasn't changed for teachers. If anything, y'all were pushing through mask and COVID reports or COVID cases every other day. So it's like,
yeah, definitely not. So I'm just feeling super fortunate, super grateful for that. But yeah, how was your week?
You know, other than the kids being sick, it was a cool week. It went by pretty fast. Today, my father, my stepmother, and sister visited, so that was a not nice surprise, but nice end of the week. I haven't seen them in a while, even though they're only in Brooklyn. My dad likes to give me shit a lot about
for not going over there. But today I was like, listen, you're retired. Travis works full time. We have the podcast. I have my tutoring. You got to come visit us.
Yeah.
I don't think he's convinced, but I think Munchie and T are going to push him to come over more.
Yeah, hopefully.
Another thing I wanted to mention, we brought flowers for your stepmom and your sister. And they were like, for what? What's the occasion? And again, we got to pour into the people we love, and we got to give people their flowers, literally and figuratively, while they're still here.
What was that you and my sister, we were all talking about? My sister was saying this is her something phase.
Her soft phase.
I've never heard of that.
Okay. So my soft phase refers to women, leaning into their femininity, not feeling the pressures of being strong, independent, hardworking. I could get through anything. Grind mode. I don't need no man. And kind of just being soft and indulging in things that are typically feminine, taking care of themselves, resisting reactivity and stress. I was telling your sister that I think it honestly started with women, specifically Black women, kind of breaking what's the word?
Like
the stereotype of the strong Black woman, right? Because although the strong Black woman, the whole idea of it is to empower Black women, but at the same time, it's like, why the fuck do we live in a world that I have to be so fucking strong? Like, why can't I just be taken care of and loved and be soft?
Gotcha.
So I think that's where the soft girl era
I've never heard of that, but
comes from.
That's That's beautiful. I like it. I like it a lot.
So yeah, she felt like it was feeding into her soft girl, soft woman era.
That's nice.
Yeah, and she also mentioned, which I think is beautiful, she buys herself flowers every couple of weeks, and I literally love that. So instead of waiting for your man to buy you flowers, because, you know, men, I don't know what it is. It's like something in their brain like says, don't buy flowers, because they just don't get it.
I came home with some.
You did get me flowers the other day. You did. And I appreciate them and I love them. But,
There we go.
Sounds bad.
Here we go.
You got them because you knew I was in a bad mood. And I appreciated that. It made me feel happy.
But may I add to your but?
Okay.
It wasn't you were in a bad mood because of anything I did.
No.
So
you got them to
it wasn't
cheer
like
me up.
it wasn't an apology
no.
gift. So I think I hear what you're saying. Like it was a reaction to something that I saw you going through. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like, oh, I fucked up. Let me go buy some.
So I literally love my flowers. It was such a sweet gesture because I was feeling down. It literally helped my mood. So I appreciate it. I just wanted to talk about the just because flowers, and you can get people you love. It doesn't have to be your partner. Things they like. It doesn't have to be flowers. Some people genuinely don't like flowers. Yeah. But if you know someone likes something, enjoys something, and you have the ability to gift them something and it's their love language, do it. It doesn't have to be they're going through something. It's their birthday. It's Christmas. We can love on the people that we love just because. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be shady.
It felt a little shady.
I'm just being honest, because then people be like, damn, Travis is just perfect. He just buys flowers just because, when honestly.
I do. I have.
You have, but.
Not a lot, but I have. I mean, flowers are expensive, y'all.
They are. I'm not saying I want fresh flowers every single week.
And I know Stephanie, she'd be like, how much are you paying for this shit?
That's true. Yeah. And I don't expect flowers. And I feel like it'll become.
It takes the value out of it if it was just like
all the time,
every week, or if like every birthday you got this big bouquet. Like you got to switch it up.
Yeah. AKA, just don't buy them for a while, so you're gonna be tight, and then when you get them, she's like, finally. Nah, I get it. All right, babe. Are you ready for the Did You Know?
I am. Did you know? Did you know married women are more than twice as likely to use a vibrator?
Okay, what are your thoughts on that?
It makes me sad.
Why does it make you sad?
Because I feel like although I know that a vibrator can be used amongst a couple, like they can add that to spice up their sex life. I think this is coming from women aren't being satisfied by in this case, their husband. So they have to use a vibrator to kind of offset that, or,
You know what? I can't even, judge you for that or be mad at you for saying that, because I think our culture has ingrained in our brains that married couples don't have good sex. So I can see that. Like someone will see that stat and be like, that's why I'm not getting married, or even say like women don't want to fuck their husbands, they have vibrators. Like, so I get it. But I kind of take it as, wow, married women are having good sex. Like I'm trying to flip the script. Like
you're an optimist.
I'm an optimist, and I'm also thinking like they're with partners that are empowering their sexuality and allowing them to play, allowing them to enjoy their own bodies, and allowing them to introduce it into the bedroom and spice it up. So I'm going to look at it from an what is it? Optimistic perspective.
Okay.
What do you call a person who's optimistic? An optimist?
I think so.
Okay, so I'm being an optimist.
Optimus Prime. I don't know. Something.
Talking about Transformers now. Okay. So this Did You Know is perfect because I did want to talk about something. So pass me that's in that corner right here. So this right here is called the Ark. And I have it literally outside the box and in the box. I have the box And I have the actual arc here. And the company Dame sent this to me. They wanted me to give it a try because they know that in our content, we talk about sex and sexual wellness. And they wanted us to give it a try. And honestly, it did not disappoint. How do you feel, babe?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I feel like we make a good team.
You and the arc?
Yeah.
So the arc is cool because it's both for external and internal pleasure. So, you could warm it up with the tip, which honestly is shaped like a, you know what? And then you could dive in once you're all warmed up, and it vibrates both externally and internally, and it has 5 different speeds. And honestly, if you're feeling interested in getting this, Sephora carries it, and they currently have a sale on these products all the way until November 7th. So get on Sephora. Don't, be late and it's like November 8th and you're like, oh my God, I should have went on Sephora and got my arc on sale. So get to Sephora, and I highly recommend the Arc G-Spot vibrator. Here you go. Put this back. All right. So we have 2 amazing topics today, and I'm going to give you a preview because one of them we haven't had back in a while, but we have a Did You Know?
Yes. Send us those Did You Knows.
Send us the Did You Knows. If you have a story you want us to share, if you want some advice and you think our listeners would relate, send it to us. We want to read it on our show. So that's coming up.
Okay.
After the first topic. And then the first topic is also about sex.
Here we go with the sex.
So this topic was actually recommended or suggested by one of our patrons.
Yes.
And I've been holding on to it for a couple of weeks because I just didn't feel right, but it feels right. So her question was, do you feel guilty about having sex dreams in a serious partnership or marriage? What were you going to say?
I'm going to say who?
Oh, I'm like, what happened? What were you going to say? Okay, so the patron that suggested this topic was Arika.
Okay.
So we're going to put her name here if you're watching on YouTube. So the question that she asked was, do you feel guilty about having sex dreams in a serious partnership or marriage?
I don't know how many sex dreams I'm having.
Okay.
I guess it just depends on who, maybe.
What do you mean on who, what?
Like who's in the sex dream?
Oh, so if it's about me, you wouldn't feel guilty, but if it was about someone else?
Yeah. I don't think I would feel guilty. I don't put much stock into dreams.
Okay.
Like it's a dream. Like who even remembers most dreams?
Yeah, I really don't remember most dreams. And what was I watching? They were telling me a little bit about what dreams are. I think it was this Netflix show. But basically they're just memories and not necessarily like, oh, you had sex with this person, so you remember it. But sex, this person, and your dream might just put them together.
What if you're having it on a more like consistent basis?
Like you're constantly dreaming about this person? I don't know. No idea. But I know that some people could control their dreams.
The fuck?
Yeah, there's called like lucid dreamers. They kind of could like control what they're dreaming about. Like you ever get woken up mid-dream and then you kind of want to keep dreaming it like it was a good dream and
it has to be instant. Like I can't get up to use the bathroom and then think I'm hopping back into that world. But if I like get startled by something and then I'm like, all right, let's go back to that jacuzzi.
I feel like I haven't had a very vivid dream that I remember in like forever. I think maybe because my sleep has been so interrupted for the past 10 months. But yeah, so basically she says, I personally feel guilty when I have a sex dream right after having sex with my partner.
Oof.
So it's like we had a lot of sex. I enjoyed it.
So unless she clarifies more, is she saying so she has a great night with her partner, goes to sleep, and then has a sex dream, but someone else is involved?
It doesn't matter. Either way, I think the guilt comes from I was already satisfied by my partner. But in my dreams, it's like I still need more.
I don't see a problem with that because you're on a high. And shit, you're fortunate enough to continue it even when you close your eyes. Like I think that's powerful. And hopefully when you wake up, your partner's recharged and ready to go again. Like, yeah, I think that's okay.
Yeah. And also, if dreams are just memories, that's your most recent memory. If you just had sex and you're about to go to bed,
It's kind of like you watch a scary movie.
you're gonna have nightmares. Sometimes, she goes on to say, sometimes it can be a series of sex dreams in one night and I feel crazy. Is it normal or am I hypersexual?
I think it's normal and you're probably hypersexual.
Both.
Yeah,
Both
the
can
two
be
things
true.
can be true.
Because I guess the term hypersexual kind of has a negative connotation. Like it means something bad.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, right?
I feel like more people need to embrace that side of them and stop trying to suppress it. That's how you have angry people.
So she does say, when I have a sex dream and it's with my partner, I don't feel as much guilt.
Okay.
There might be guilt attributed to women and their sexual desires. Like you kind of feel like as a lady, you're not supposed to be as sexual, as horny, or as hypersexual as men are. I feel like that could be playing a role in it.
Yeah, I think, if you were telling me you're having sex dreams and it involved anyone, I would say man or a woman, I would kind of raise an eyebrow only because I know how mental sex is for you.
Ooh, I was going to get into that. Go ahead.
So I'd be like, how the hell are you allowing yourself to go to this place unless you got something going on?
Okay, so her next question is, do you share your sex dreams with your partner? Sometimes it can be funny or awkward when your partner's peacefully asleep and you notice that they have ejaculated, a wet dream. Or a person with the vagina and the wop oozed onto the pillow between the thighs. So I'm like, oh my God, wet dreams.
I just want to pour one out for the YouTube ads because I cannot monetize this. Wet dreams. I got something to tell you.
Oh God, tell me.
So this was like 3 months ago.
Oh my.
And I didn't tell you only because I legit couldn't remember and I feel like you wouldn't have bought it. But I woke up with a little substance down there.
Oh, you had a wet dream.
And I haven't had one of those since I was a teenager.
That was my next point. Like we instantly think like it's like little horny boys that like are having maybe sex dreams and like are having wet dreams. They can't control their ejaculation. But I did some research and apparently it's more common than we think. And it happens to men and women.
Yeah, it was surprising because I legit haven't had that happen to me since I was a teenager. And like I'm talking about like wake up and you gotta like go take a shower type thing. And I woke up and it was a similar situation and I was just like, what the fuck? Because I don't really remember the dream. And I don't know why I didn't tell you.
Yeah, and that was her question. Do you share with your partner?
I guess not.
But you don't remember what made you do it?
Are you saying what made me not tell you? Or
no, what made you like
have a
wet dream?
Gun to my head, I couldn't tell you. But I remember kind of feeling shame in that moment because it's like, yeah, I don't know, like it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm. So this is mental, right? So clearly whatever happened, you're dreaming is mental. You didn't like jerk off while you were sleeping. It was like just mental stimulation, right? Sex is very mental for me, even when I'm awake, right? So I can totally see how if you're having an intense enough dream, your body can physically orgasm.
Yeah, I definitely believe that.
Because I've told people like I can literally orgasm without being touched if it's like mental stimulation and like the mood is set. And people look at me like I'm fucking crazy, but that's technically what a wet dream is, right? Okay, so tell me a little bit more about your feelings about if I was having sex dreams. Why would that bother you?
Like I said, sex is, or like you said too, sex is mental for you. Mm-hmm. So I would wonder what type of mental connection you're having with these figures in your sleep that's allowing you to even go there.
All right, but I can't control what I dream about. So your dreams are just memories.
So are you saying you're like suppressing something?
it's not suppressing, it's a memory. A memory is a memory. If I see something, experience something, it's stored in your brain. And then when you're dreaming, they just come up in random orders.
Dreams aren't just memories, right? Because you're kind of creating something out of nothing. It's not necessarily...
No, because you never in your dream have seen a color you've never seen or ate a fruit you've never seen. It's something you've seen. You're connecting it. You're creating it with something you've experienced. You get what I'm saying? Even if it's like a flying dinosaur. You've seen dinosaurs, you've seen animals fly, and in your dream, you're just kind of putting it together.
So you're never just making something out of nothing.
You're not making up anything out of thin air. They're just your reality in like a weird puzzle.
Okay, so here's my next question. Do you ever use previous sexual encounters to turn you on that don't involve me?
No. I do use previous sexual encounters kind of to turn myself on because it's meant to for me. So sometimes I'm thinking of something that I liked or enjoyed or even like in foreplay, I could mentally picture like penetration before it's happened, and that helps me like get more stimulated, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
What was my thing about a wet dream that I almost forgot? I don't know.
Have you had a wet dream?
Oh, that's what I was gonna talk about. I don't think I've 100% had wet dreams. I've had sex dreams. And I think sometimes when I am mentally thinking about sex in my dreams, I kind of would wake up for morning sex. Like, I feel like that's why I might wake up like in the mood if I was thinking about something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. On the flip side, how would that make you feel if I was like, let's say I had a dream about someone and I woke up, turned on, and I was just ready to go. And you knew, or maybe after the fact, you knew my motivation was because I got so turned on from a dream about, I don't know, a barista at a coffee shop.
I'd be like, damn, that barista must have been hot. I don't know. For me, that doesn't bother me because you're human. And if you see someone that's hot, I know you're going to find them attractive. Like, I don't know. That doesn't bother me. But now if you're like, you got me a Starbucks uniform and told me to call me by her name, I'd be like, whoa, you're wildin'.
I want you to write the wrong name on the cup.
Yeah, but like, I don't think that would bother me. Remember I told you I was having a series of weird dreams?
Yeah.
And one of them was a sex dream.
Breaking news.
It was like that I basically left you for like another man.
Oh.
So I was having this weird period. Like, it was like a few days of, in my dream, I was the worst version of myself. Like, this person I would never want to be when it came to my kids, you, and like everything. Like, I was just like, if I woke up one day and didn't give a fuck and became that evil version of me, that's what was happening in my dreams for a few days. I was like, I like decided to leave y'all, and y'all were like, why are you leaving? And I was just like, I'm done. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, babe, why am I having these dreams? They're so weird. And I'm like, I'm not unhappy. I don't want to leave, but like my dreams are doing that. Like, it's so fucking weird.
My dreams.
My nightmares. And I think in that time I was maybe putting a lot of pressure on myself about like, am I being a good enough mom? Am I being a good enough wife? So I feel like the dreams are me, like my worst fears just coming true. I don't fucking know, but it was trippy.
Damn, the answer to am I being good enough is fuck y'all, I'm out.
It was so weird.
No. There's no logic with dreams.
Yeah, it was just like nuts. Or like if my mind was like, well, this is what will happen if you just give up. And it was showing me like how disappointed you all were with me and shit.
Do you put any stock into dreams as far as, you know, obviously we're talking about sex, but do you think, I don't know, you could have a dream about anything. I know the most outlandish thing, but let's say you're having it on a consistent basis. Do you think there's something there?
I feel like if something's really stressing you out or on your mind a lot, like even me having those dreams about being the worst version of myself, I feel like it's definitely related with me thinking, am I good enough? And having all these concerns of like not being a good mom or not being a good wife. And then it kind of showed up in my dreams somehow. So yes. So maybe if you are constantly always having sex dreams with this person, maybe it feeds into the idea of maybe you're not satisfied in your sex life, or maybe you want to be a little more daring, but you're afraid to do it in real life. So it's happening in your dreams.
Mm-hmm. I used to have this nightmare of I was always forgetting to do like homework in high school. And like I used to have like real anxiety about it. And I would wake up in the morning like, I'm fucking 30 years old. Snap out of it.
And like, no one's checking for my homework. I'm fine. You know what's literally, this doesn't have anything to do with dreams, but you ever do something embarrassing and then you randomly remember like some dumb shit you did?
Give me an example.
Like you have that sense of embarrassment again.
Give me an example.
I don't know. Let's say you're at work and you have to set up a meeting. And then your ringtone rings and it's like an embarrassing song in front of like the CEO of the company. And everybody laughs it off and it's like not that big a deal, but...
And you're dying on the
like
inside.
Dying on the inside. And then you'll randomly remember that moment and like feel that gut embarrassment again.
Yeah.
That shit fucks with me. Like I'll randomly like think of some dumb shit I said, or if someone called me out on something, like I'll randomly remember like brushing my teeth or like walking down the stairs. And I'm like, damn, I was an idiot. Like, it's so weird. I feel like it's been happening to me, which is why I thought about it. But now I can't remember what I was embarrassed about.
It wasn't that big a deal though.
It wasn't, but it's been happening to me where I remember like, I'm such a dumbass. Yeah. Her last question was about that. Like, what are your thoughts on sex dreams, myths, legends, superstitions? For example, maybe if you have sex with an ex, that is a representation of you clinging to old ideals in your current life. If you have sex with a coworker, it means that you're stressed about work.
So it's less about the person and just more what their significance is to the dream. It's like their presence in your dream is like a deeper meaning.
Yeah, so like the coworker is not because you want your coworkers, because work is stressing you out. Your ex is not because you want your ex, but it's like you're thinking about the past, and that's what was present in your past.
And that's why it's so important to not be so reactive, especially like if you're talking to your partner and then they're trying to communicate with you about a dream, and you immediately focus on you're thinking about fucking your ex instead of like taking a minute to like listen and maybe help them unpack what they're feeling. And then you could oh, well, you're thinking about your ex because, you know, that one time y'all.
You see, that's where I say communication is key, but there's limits to certain shit. I feel like if I had a dream, like having sex with my ex, that's just something I probably just would like never tell you. Like I would just be like, oh, that was weird. And I just wouldn't even bother.
I think if it was
trying
happening
to
on a
unpack
consistent
it.
basis, you might.
Yeah, like, babe, what the fuck is wrong with me?
I need help.
A
one-off is different.
Yeah.
It reminds me of who were we talking with? Where we were just saying like sometimes you just need to shut the fuck up. Like not everything needs to be said.
Oh, we were talking about asking to
Patreon.
be rated. We were on Patreon talking about if you tell your partner like, what would you rate me out of 10? Or asking your partner to compare you to someone else. Like if you had to like who's hotter than who, like that's so awkward and uncomfortable. Like don't ask that. Especially if you're like sensitive. And...
I was going to say, especially if you're a 5, because
no, because I feel like most of the time if you're asking, it's because you have self-esteem issues, right? Like you're seeking validation, but then it's like you're at risk of being told something you don't want to hear. So don't ask that shit. Like, no, don't do it.
Don't ask, don't tell.
All right. Are you ready for Did You Know?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been so long.
How do we do this again?
I don't even know. I didn't even name this. Also, y'all can relate because I forgot that I even did that. But it is related to someone in a relationship thinking about their ex, which we were just talking about.
Full circle moment.
Full circle. All right. Also, y'all can relate. I'm hoping you guys can give me some insight to my big secret that only my best friend of 25 years knows.
We are on the same level as her best friend.
And us. Now we know. How do you know it was a girl? I kind of did say her ex. All right, never mind. I'm at what seems like an impossible fork in the road.
Are you reading the whole thing or are we stopping?
We'll stop a little bit here and there. But you messed me up, baby.
Rewind.
I'm at what seems like an impossible fork in the road. Before my current relationship of 2 years, I was with the same man from ages 16 to 26. We literally grew up together. Our relationship ended when I told him I wanted to explore other things because I wasn't happy, and his mental illness turned into violence and psychological trauma. Ooh. First of all, that age group is tough. Like, being together through those formative years is dangerous. It could be beautiful, but it's risky because you could say, like, if you look at a teenager, right? The reason they're juveniles, like if they commit crimes, is because you think like they can be rehabilitated still back into society. They're like making decisions with a brain that's not fully developed, and their life circumstances they can't really control. But if you're in a relationship and like the violence is directed at you, or you're like, okay, they outgrew it and now we could be together. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's like hard because it's like, yeah, you don't want to hold things against a juvenile forever. But if you're the victim of it, does that mean you have to stick around and wait till their brain is fully developed and now doing better?
But just like a juvenile, we would hope that they go through some type of rehabilitation. So I think in a relationship, not that it's okay. There are plenty of relationships that never have to go through that. But if you do, then some type of therapy needs to happen because there are things that you need to address. Those things may not come up the same exact way as when you were 16, but it's still going to define who you turn into. Yeah.
So some type of rehabilitation has to happen.
Yeah. And shit, even I'm guilty of not seeking help for things that younger Travis may have gone through. Fortunately, I wasn't with anyone from 16 to 20, whatever the age is. So it was a little easier for me to sweep it under the rug and kind of work through it as an adult. But if you're with someone during that time
and your issues are impacting them,
then yeah, the best apology is change behavior.
Okay. Let me keep going. Until I met my current partner, I would try to date but could never break contact with the ex, no matter how great the new person was. I cut many interactions off early on because when they would fall in love, I couldn't make myself to feel the same. I know that's not okay, but that's my ugly truth. I hurt good people during my own hurt. So clearly, they had like a bond that she couldn't.
I mean, bonds, that word, I'm going to bring it back to my favorite relationship to go back to when it's talking about these type of things. But my ex, we were together for such a long time that I would have said that, like, in that time, like, we're bonded. We've been together so long. I can't imagine myself with anyone else, but it's you grow comfortable with people. It's not necessarily that you're just happy and this is where you see your life going for the rest of your life, but time isn't an indicator of happiness or healthiness.
But you're thinking of bond as like a good thing, but bonds could be bad.
Like trauma bond or
a trauma bond, right? And when you look at the definition of a trauma bond, it's an attachment to the attachment of abused person to their abuser, right? And it usually happens in relationships where there's a pattern of abuse. And when we think of patterns, right, there's things that are repeating. And in trauma bonds, usually the reason it's there is because you had the trauma followed by good moments. Abuse followed by positive reinforcements. Like you get physically abused, but then they buy you flowers and they take you on vacation and they tell you it'll never happen again. Then it happens again. It's like a cycle. It's like this pattern of like violence or boundaries being crossed or some type of abuse, but then it's followed by something good.
Yeah.
So maybe when she was dating these other people, not having the trauma, made it feel like it wasn't real love.
That's so fucked up.
Right? Like you have this idea of what love is in your mind that's kind of toxic. So now you're with these other people and that violence isn't there. This can't be real love. This isn't what the love I felt like for 10 years. So when these people are probably falling in love with her, she's like, she didn't feel that same love that was riddled with toxicity. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fast forward a couple years to the man I'm with now, and he's everything I could have ever dreamed of. He's the only person I've ever lived with. We're good at it and we're comfortable. Life is easy with him. My only issue at all is a slight lack in non-sexual intimacy. I love him deeply, and I know I unfairly compare this 2-year relationship with a 10+ year one. I instantly thought, the non-sexual intimacy, she was with this other guy for so long that they probably developed that. And she's comparing a 10 years relationship's non-sexual intimacy to a 2-year. No. But also, poor guy. Like,
he's fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah. And I also wouldn't, like, I couldn't picture myself being in their shoes, like loving someone and then the person that their heart is connected to or that they feel is their quote unquote soulmate, right? Is this person that was traumatic and violent towards them. So it's like, you could never be that person. However, even though I have had no contact, I have never stopped loving my ex. I feel like we have a once-in-a-lifetime connection. Our bond transcends time and space and every ugly time we had in our younger years. I desperately miss my friend that I had in my ex, and I will forever have a hole in my life without him. All these years later, I still cry when I'm alone. My ex has not dated since me. And when I last ran into his mother, she told me that he's still waiting for me and would wait forever. That got me so tight. Because there be these moms enabling their sons to be fucking assholes because how dare you?
There's a lot. Is that the end?
No.
Okay. Oh, well, let's unpack some of the stuff you said.
Yeah.
One, I want to shout out this submission. Beautiful writer.
Yeah, no, yeah, for real.
But I'm also concerned with the beautiful words in which she's using to describe this toxic ass relationship.
I feel like she's used the poetry to convince herself that this is the person she needs to be with. Like this love, once in a lifetime love.
Love transcends time and space. Like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. It's like she's convincing herself.
But then in the same breath, say they, I don't want to misspeak here, but about the abuse or
violence and psychological trauma.
What the fuck? Like those two sentences can't go talking about the same person. Like that just doesn't that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it could be like it happens. It's a sad reality, I guess. But thinking like, oh, they can't coexist together. They do. Which is why toxic relationships last so long. Because if it was just all pure abuse and trauma, no one would stay. The reason people stay in these toxic cycles and these toxic relationships for longer than they need to is because there's love there. There's this feeling of like, we want to be together. Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. So yeah, but I do think that she's trying to convince herself, like, I need to get back to him.
Back on the ending of that where you said the family was saying, you know, he's waiting.
The mom. That got me so mad. I hate that shit.
What do you think it is about, you know, you see that a lot, you know, like women in families will kind of like let men be dogs and just kind of say, that's men being men. And
I feel like it's been in our society, culture, history forever that men get away with shit. They could be boys. Boys will be boys. They have unprotected sex, get young girls pregnant. Oh, well, those are boys, but you should have protected yourself. You should know better. Why you let him get between your legs versus like holding him accountable too? So I think it's just ingrained and it's passed down generation to generation.
Yeah.
It pissed me off because as a mother, I get wanting to be there for your son, right? Helping him get better, believing that he has changed. But as a woman, you should be like, you fucked up with her. You put her through enough shit. Try to move on. Leave her alone.
What comes first for you? You being a woman or a mother?
A woman. I can't be a mom without my womanhood. 100%. My sons come above most things in my life, right? But in terms of my decision making, the values I want to instill in my son come from my womanhood and my experience as a woman in a world that's male dominated. And I need them to understand that so they could hopefully not repeat these fucking toxic ass cycles.
Yeah, I definitely want my boys to be 10 times better than me. And I hope that I'm able to instill that by just communicating with them and just not letting them navigate this life based on what their friendships and things they see in the media, because that's when I feel like you kind of go off track, right? Like I can't recall a single conversation I had with a male figure in my life where they were telling me anything positive to do in terms of how to treat women. It's always been like I'm watching men do shit and I'm seeing the reaction other men are giving to them, and I'm like, all right, well, this is the way.
And that's crazy because it wasn't like, oh, this man did this for his wife and she's happy. You were looking at the reaction other men were giving men to what they did to women, which is fucking crazy. Yeah. Which is why there's this joke, but not really. It's like men do shit for other men, not even for women. Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Even,
like
I make the joke about even how we dress.
Yeah, you're not trying to impress women. You want to impress other guys.
Women don't know those are the Jordan 70.
All right, now you're getting sexist because you think women don't know about Jordans?
No, I'm just saying
I get what you're saying, baby.
They don't hold. It doesn't hold as much stock.
Yeah, as you think. Well, it does, but to other men. You want to impress the guys that you have the latest drip or whatever. But yeah, that pissed me off. The mother was out of line when she said that. And that's another reminder of like, when you leave certain relationships, especially toxic ones, like cut everybody the fuck off.
Oh my God. I feel like we could have a whole fucking episode on that because.
Like, why are you even talking to his mom? Because you saw her on the street.
I feel like it's a no-brainer. Like, especially if you have no ties. They don't share a child. They don't share a home. They don't have a fucking puppy together. Just cut ties. And I'm triggered because I felt like when me and my ex broke up, there was just like a few family members that lingered a little too long. I think now it's kind of completely disconnected, but at the time I felt like who you riding for? And especially for me, I was just like, we have no connection. There's no kids between us. Yeah. Just let it go.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Right. So yeah, she goes on to say, it sounds like it would be simple to be together. But in my opinion, meaning since he's waiting for me, I could easily just get with him. It would be simple. Easy.
Yeah, that's her backup plan.
But in my opinion, we would never be together again because of the sexual, emotional trauma during and since our relationship that nobody knows of.
Did she mention sexual trauma before?
It sounds like things kept happening. No, she kind of, before it was just violence and psychological.
This is deeper than I thought, right? I feel like she kind of snuck that one in there, but I appreciate that she told us. But my mind is like, you just hear sexual trauma, it can mean a million things. So I don't know what to take from that, but other than the fact that there's any trauma related to sex is like a huge red flag. I don't know if this is the end yet, but I'm ready to say this isn't the man for you.
Absolutely not. Like, you don't even need to hear the rest of it to know that she needs to let it go. And even if I believe that a person between the ages of 16 to 26 that was in a committed relationship, trying to be an adult, made mistakes. And I do believe that they, through therapy and healing, that they could come out as better people. But I feel like the same way she has a trauma bond to him, he has one to her. And I feel like maybe just with each other, no matter how healed he'll be, those patterns are going to repeat because of who she is.
I'm thinking of something, and I'm not going to say any names, but we know someone who was with someone, and when they were together, it was disgusting, like just very negative. But they're no longer together, and they're years later they become great co-parents, and you can even say friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes people around them kind of flirt with the idea that they should get back together because look how great things are now. And that person, shout out to them, they really stand up for themselves because they're aware of the fact that no, like we've been through some crazy shit. Like I'm grateful for where we are now
and his growth and celebrate it, but we can't be together.
Yeah, and like you said, there could be something about them being together that triggers
that trauma.
So, like you said, I think there is potential. Like I don't think he's throw him away, get rid of him.
Yeah.
There's space for him to heal and be a better human being at the end of the day. But I don't think
they need to be together.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Let me see. While in my soul, he is the one I will always wanted to be next to when I'm old. Is there a reality of repair in a relationship in which we are together and in love, but do not have sex? So I think she's trying to figure out a way to not be triggered by what happened. Like we could be together, but maybe we'd never have sex. No, sex is important to you. She mentioned the non-sexual intimacy with her other. No, don't. That's a terrible compromise, right? To say that you at 30 years old could be with someone because you love them so much, but y'all can never have sex.
Because of a trigger, or because it will trigger something that they
could be violent.
Traumatized you with.
Or do I simply learn to live without him? My current position is that I'm torn between marrying this incredible man I have now who has done nothing wrong, losing him to a second chance with my ex, or just being alone and accepting that I'll never make it work with anyone.
So obviously, you know how I feel about the ex.
Definitely not. Don't be
Wish him well and move on with your life.
Do you think she should just be single?
I think if her current relationship is to work, then she has to be open up about these feelings. Maybe not as raw as this email, but just let him know the struggle she's been going through and where it comes from. Hopefully he's not immediately just like defensive and combative to hearing this information, and maybe he's like genuinely not genuinely cares, but just genuinely wants to see you get help, because at the end of the day, she needs help.
Yeah, absolutely.
She needs therapy.
Absolutely. And I also want to say, I think it's not perfectly, but it's normal. It's common for people in new relationships to think about their exes. Like that just happens. They're people you spent a significant amount of your time with, your life with. You've been through trauma together. Like you're going to think about that person. Like even if you're not thinking about being back with them, you're thinking about their well-being, right? You kind of think like, I hope they're okay. Because if you're a good person, you don't just suddenly erase these memories and wish harm on the people you spent time with, especially you were connected to romantically. So I don't want her to feel like she's this horrible, wrong person. I think it's normal. What I do think she needs help with is realizing that what she's feeling is not I'm losing my soulmate. I feel like she has a sense of FOMO. Like if I don't get back with him now, I'm going to regret it. No. What you're feeling is a trauma bond. It's this feeling that love is supposed to be paired with pain, and learn how to love with just love, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that summarizes it perfectly. I feel for her because, I'm so removed from this situation. So it's easy for me to say, you're bugging. But, I know what it's like to be in love with someone, even when in your core, you know that this isn't your person and you're just kind of basing it off things that aren't sustainable long term. And there's a lot of things that just make this bond between them very weak and not worth repair.
Yeah. I feel bad. If anything, I want the listeners to know that like these feelings about your exes or these sex dreams, like we're all human. And I feel like a lot of disagreements in relationships come because we expect our partners to just lose their humanity when they get together with you. I'm the only person you're supposed to love. I'm the only person you're supposed to lust for. I'm the only person that you should care about. And you're stripping your partner of their humanity. You want to hold them accountable. You want them to respect you and your boundaries. You want them to be loyal. But that doesn't mean the thoughts, the desires just jump out the window. Especially our trauma. And this is trauma that's forcing her to think about him. And our partners aren't gonna just, it's not gonna just vanish. This manifestation of her trauma sucks to be in a new relationship. And I honestly, you know how you said, like, if he cares about her enough, he'll understand. And I don't think that's fair either. Because I think he doesn't have to deal with her pain. He could honestly be like, you know what? I understand, but it's too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to subject myself through this healing process that you're going through. And I feel like all of us have to be okay with that. I'm very happy that in our culture, we're taking mental health a lot more seriously. But just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean everyone has to just put up with your healing. You know what does that?
It makes sense, but you also say, and I don't know if you said it on this podcast, but definitely in our private conversations, that there's always this messaging that goes out. It's like, fix yourself before you get with someone. And you've kind of said to me, at least, that it's okay to like not have all your shit together and kind of be working it out while you're in a new relationship.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like, how can you say that, but also say he could,
But there's limits, right? I feel like everyone has their limits, and that depends on the person. Everybody decides where they want to set their boundaries and how high they're going to be. So I feel like, yes, I'm willing to work out some things with you, but to what expense? Like, to what end? And I feel like everybody has their limit. And I feel like he might be like, I can't put up with you maybe not wanting to be with me and be with your ex.
Yeah.
Even if it is related to trauma.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
All right. You know what I noticed I need to stop doing?
What's that?
I say, does that make sense? A lot when I'm unsure of myself and what I said.
It's kind of like when you give advice and you go, I don't know nothing.
I feel like I doubt the things I'm saying and I'm like, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Even though I know it made fucking sense. But it's like, did you understand me?
One day we're back. That didn't make sense.
And I feel like you could tell me if something doesn't make sense, but I feel like I'm asking out of like a habit. Like I'm unsure of myself and I'm just asking too much. Kind of like people who apologize all the time. I'm just doubting myself.
I've met someone like that recently. It's like,
who apologized a lot?
A lot of sorries. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I feel like mentally drained from that one. And just because it's a lot, it's a very heavy subject. Yeah, I'm sending healing energy to this woman, and I hope that she finds the path that makes her happy and is healthy, but it's not him.
Yeah, it's not. Let it go. Let it go. I think even the fact that she wrote this email, she knows he ain't it. It's like she wants more people to remind her and tell her, especially since it sounds like it's something she can't talk to with anyone. Only one other person knows.
Yeah. It's it sucks, but I think you know what you have to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully this was just a formality and it's just like it's confirmation of something you already knew. Yeah. And you just giving us some content.
But yeah, if you're watching this, don't forget to like on YouTube, leave a comment. It really helps the algorithm.
Yeah, we want to, I like continuing the conversation in the comments. So if there's, you know.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this? What are other examples that trauma bonds kind of manifest in our world? Do you have sex dreams? Do you tell your partner about them? Do you have wet dreams?
Wet dreams.
But I feel like, yeah, it depends. It depends on how wet your orgasms are. Because some women are in like waterworks. Some of them are just, you know,
gushy,
extra moisturized.
Also, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platforms, leave us a review. Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
5 stars.
And if you just love us so much and you just want more of us, come join us over at Patreon. That's patreon.com/we still like each other. 3 tiers to pick from. All very affordable, might I add. So, yeah.
And even if you don't got more time for us, but you love us and you just want to give us a little donation, that's a way you could do it as well.
Sprinkle a little money in there.
$3 a month, $7 a month, $12 a month.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Peace.
You didn't ask me if I still like you.
Because you're having dreams about your ex. My love.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I still like you.
Love you.
Love you more.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.